Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So it's me today, Stefan, the ABM master, and I have another master here, a master of from a company called Signal Base, or is it Signal Base? How do you call it,
It's
Georgi?
it's signal based.
Signal. Okay, so we go for Signal. We ditch the noise, right?
Exactly.
Um, would love to. Why don't you do an intro, Georgi? You tell everyone who are you, what have you achieved. That would be great.
Yeah, totally. Shall I actually share my screen though? Or
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
okay, sweet. Let me just put you here then, and we can do it like this. All right, good. Can everyone see the screen?
Let me check. I can. You should wait. Okay, I think it. Wait.
Yeah,
I think now. Okay, I think now it's working. Yes, sir.
perfect. Nice. All right. Well, to tell a little bit about myself, right? Like I've won. Extremely nice to be on the show of Stefan. So thanks, man, for inviting me over. A little bit about myself. I've been stepping into the leadership shoes since the age of 19, working in both bootstrap and VC back environments, which honestly it's been a great pressure cooker for a young professional in order to understand the full picture about how to do go to market, etc., etc. But the most interesting part I would say about me and the reason why we're here today is because last year I managed to host up to 10 or 11 events. And one of them was a vetted conference for 200 go to market executives, which enabled me to talk with different chief growth officers, etc., etc. And that's where, funny enough, I discovered the whole magic of signals, but I'll cover it a little bit later down the line. Currently working on Signal Base, which mainly solves the problem of sales teams talking to prospects without any motion behind them. So therefore, with the product, we try to solve two problems. Number one, give you as much context per contact, and number two, just optimize the time of the sales team. So that's in essence what we do, how we do.
Amazing. Let's go to the next slide. There is a guy here. Oh, okay. Well, that's me. Okay. So for those who don't know me, my name is Stefan. Started my first business at 14. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial company. At some point in our life, we had a company worth 10 million ARR, but it all went to shit in 2018, and basically we lost everything. So now that's why I'm rebuilding Luck Boosters to that number. And very nice dream. Okay, so worked with a lot of companies within my experience. So I have more than a decade of experience in ABM in particular and B2B, both marketing and sales. Combined for the companies I've worked with, I've generated more than 100 million in pipeline. Um, there mostly was ABM, but there were cases where we're just doing growth marketing and we're doing ABM without knowing that was called ABM. We just called it marketing back then, looking back 10 years ago. Between my clients, you can find manufacturing, automotive, such as Stratasys. You can find fintech, banking, Backbase. You can find pharma companies like V7, Central European University. For those who don't know it, it's an educational facility. Lensa, HR Growth. Well, it's a platform for HR. It's an HR board, and cybersecurity, obviously. So I work with long sales cycle, the technical leaders who need a lot of like hand holding, and you need to explain them what you sell, and the product you sell is actually complicated. It's not a banana or something like that. All right, let's go, Georgi. What do you have for us today?
So, as mentioned in the title, today we're going to bust a few big ABM myths around that. And I was wondering actually from the chat, what are some big ABM myths that you guys recently came across with? As you can see, like there is personalization, volume of data, attribution, etc., etc. Like Stefan, what is something that you personally came across that it's a big ABM myth for yourself?
I would say first that comes to my mind is that the misalignment between people think that intent means signal, and these are completely different things. And you're the master here, so like let's tackle that one first. I think.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah. Totally. And you know what I think actually is the biggest problem is the fact that the LinkedIn algo just keeps on bursting more and more tactics to the leaders out there. And just because it seems like there is an engagement to it, people think that those things really work. But in essence, where the whole magic lays down is in the fundamentals. And I feel like today, this is exactly what we're going to cover when it comes to crafting a signal-based go-to-market engine to boost ultimately your account-based marketing. Okay, just to know really quickly how many people we have so far. Do we need to wait a bit?
we had 5 people live, and probably there's gonna be a few more. Oh, we have 4 people
Okay.
live.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Sweet. Let's just then continue, and I'm sure that the rest of the people will join up. For the 4 people that are in the chat, do you guys mind sharing where you're from and what do you do, etc., etc.? I would love to read it afterwards.
I'm gonna write in the chat as well.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, let's go. Everyone.
Yeah. Sure. So first thing first, why we need to even talk about signals? Well, if in case you guys haven't figured it out yet, the hand raisers are becoming less and less prominent nowadays, and prospects seems to be even more educated than your SDRs. I have been seeing that myself.
Oh Jesus, something happened. Give me a second. At the scene. One sec, guys. Oops. Okay, like this.
Good.
Okay. Something happened. It's
Yeah,
all right.
no worries.
All right. You kicked
Oh,
yourself. So you were saying that prospects are now more educated and sensitive than ever. So you were saying about prospects, right?
yeah, exactly. So, in case you guys haven't felt it recently, the more education that there is on LinkedIn, the higher also your sales cycle becomes because of the fact that you have so many more alternatives. And the real question here is how do you manage to create all of these touch points in the right place at the right time and capture them as fast as possible, then later turn all of these into context for outreach in order to become less spammy, right? And as you can see, there is a nice message that I received the other day. Hey, not even my name in there, so you know it's very autonomized in that sense. I saw you've been engaging with Swarm's content. Caveat in here, I do know they're head of growth, but I never engaged with their content pieces, right? So this is the whole reason why I kind of consider this type of messages as spammy. And trust me, it gets even worse with those examples here. As I mentioned, we're a SaaS company, right? But someone, some way, somehow, due to the fact that they just sourced me being a CEO, or LinkedIn misled them to the fact that I'm still working in a SaaS agency, his outreach turned out to me to be, hey, we help other SaaS agencies. Do you want to help, right? Do you need a hand? And if you see my answer in there, I just ask, hey man, are we actually an outbound agency or what is going on? So there was quite some shameful experiences in there. And just to illustrate another bad example of why spraying and praying is not working anymore, I just received this message this morning on the right from another sales intelligence vendor who claims that they can help me to set alerts for funding announcements. My answer was, have you ever taken a look into what we do with signal-based? Because that's exactly what we're doing. So to save yourself the shame, perhaps your outreach needs to look a little bit more like this. Hey, name, do you want to drive more revenue within 2026? GTM teams using our intent data cuts 30 plus hours, yada, yada. Do you want to have the 5 opportunities you just missed out? Let's do it. The whole difference between my outreach and the outreach that I showed previously is hyper relevance. And this comes down again to one of the ABM myths that today we're trying to break, which is personalization versus hyper relevance. A pro tip here, your signal or personalization only matters if you happen to do it and if you happen to turn your signal into a proper message in a time frame of maximum 2 hours. If not, the window of relevance is getting closed and you're just getting lost within the rest of the noise, right? Like we all fight for every bit of attention. So it just makes sense for you to go ahead and capitalize that in that manner. Favorite topic for a lot of people: intent versus signals. Mistake that I keep on seeing quite a lot
Mhm.
is the fact that every signal is being treated in the same manner, right? But that's not the truth. And I'll showcase in a bit how we personally. Oh,
Yeah, I'm here.
someone asked for. Yes, okay.
All those
Hey,
say
Dina.
that
Yeah,
the sound is on repeat.
yeah.
Let's check. Uh, excited. Okay, thank you. Amazing. Um, some problem with sound. Let's continue. I'm doing troubleshooting now.
Okay, good. Is it? Can you hear me now? Can the chat hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, good. So just to address one of the biggest elephants in the room, what is signal and what is actually intent? What we do mention to our customers and to everyone else that I consult on this topic, pretty much I say intent is everything that helps you to activate on a particular account in order to move further within your life cycle. Thanks, Bubble, again. And signals, in contrast, is something that you can use in order to stand out. And as you can see below, we have signals such as funding round, acquisition, new hire, etc., etc. So in essence, what I'm trying to say here is that signals are for your team and they're being served as a context window in order to increase the relevance of your outreach, right? And intent helps you after the signal in order to close the initial account. Are there any questions in here? Like I'm wondering, Stefan, how do you identify intent versus signals?
Signal could be the 8th of March, for example, right? So that, for example, like I'll give a practical example. Like I'm working on organizing a campaign for, let's say, an account, and we were thinking about that the 8th of March, International Women's Day, could be actually a good signal for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for accounts you don't know, you're looking for reasons to reach out or something that would show you more relevance, right? Because you're looking for, nowadays you can find, hey, F name everywhere, right? And it's like people, it's not relevant. What you're looking for is relevance and context. And intent is by all means, intent for me means a first party signal. If signal, not signal, but like first party, let's say, activity. If signal is usually a third party, it could be coming from outside, then the intent is always first party. So, or at least you can measure it as a first party, meaning they come to the website, they look at maybe some pages, you can always track that. They ask for a demo, maybe there is some sort of engagement you're tracking, and maybe they're looking through your um, GitHub, for example. That could be intent as well, technically.
Totally.
So it's I would say intent is a little warmer than signal. Signal is always like something that you use as a trigger. Intent means, okay, they're here for good, right? So they're interested.
Yeah, totally. And it's up to you to know how to leverage that to the fullest. All right. So the reason why I say that not everything, not all signals are equal is due to the fact that if you take a broader look into how the winning GTM teams adopt this, you have three layers to follow in order to not lose the focus of your sales team. So everything starts with what. Oh wait, there is a problem with the recording as well. Everyone says that there is no volume.
Um, Let me check again. The thing is that here I am seeing it here on the website, I
Yeah.
mean on LinkedIn, but for some reason something is not working. Jesus. Mm. Oh boy.
I mean, worst case scenario, guys, if this is not working, we can record a video and upload it. Like that's also possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go on with this. I haven't found, to be honest, anything in the settings. and I'll
Okay.
send out the recording to everyone. Guys, thank you for being with us.
Yeah,
Apologize.
thanks, guys. Appreciate ya. Okay, so to continue with the actionable insights, what I see working for B2B SaaS companies with at least 30 million of revenue that want to activate their ABM motion is to layer their signals in three exact levels, just like their sales funnel, right? Everything starts with having a signal-based prospecting strategy in mind by defining, okay, who are the accounts that have recently raised funding, right? Is this actually something that we want to go after? Or perhaps it's merger acquisition. Perhaps we want to start with accounts that are already hiring or accounts that particularly have a job change behind them, right? Because if they have a job change, you can set up additional hypotheses for each one of the evergreen signals, actually. Now, once you have all of this set up in place, here comes the secondary layer, which their intent starts to become more and more valuable for you. This is engagement on socials. This is website visitors. This is engagement on competitors, going to events, and everything else that indicates particular context pieces for you and your sales team to leverage within the outreach and keep on knocking on the door while your marketing team supports that with thought leadership ads and additional, yes,
Of course.
and additional efforts such as invites to dinner, etc., etc. Lastly, the most important part I would say is to keep on monitoring all of your accounts after the post sales. And here, of course, perhaps marketing teams have a less direct impact, but you can still go and ask your product teams about usage signals. You can still ask your sales teams for changes in the CRM, and it's very important for you to also go to your CS leaders and say, "Hey guys, what about the initial customer support tickets that we get," right? Because that helps you to map out the entire context landscape upon that um, initial. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat at the same time. To map out the entire context landscape for that account. And by the way, shout out to ChatGPT for generating this picture. I got that trick from Madhav, who is the CMO at Storylane, and they run accounts with ChatGPT generated images, and that seems to be cracking LinkedIn. Speaking about signals for marketers and talking to marketers directly, I want to introduce this signal-based system for marketing teams, right? This is a use case around the conference that I previously mentioned, and the story is the following. It was June, I think 30th or something like this, and we barely had 30 tickets sold for the event in September, and the team started to panic in a tiny manner. What would you do? How would you do it? I know it's a little bit weird to see me with my blanket on top of my head, but hey, at least that managed to interrupt the LinkedIn scroll and managed to capture some attention for me to get a little bit of engagement from accounts that have not purchased a ticket yet, right? So I qualify them and I send them this message, which, by the way, now reading as someone who does a lot of signal-based selling, bless you, I'll do entirely different. But still, the most important trigger here that you need to leverage is FOMO, right? You want to make them feel that they're missing out. And on the other side, familiarity by mentioning who from their network is going in there. Once you manage to secure a ticket or initial sale, you do need to have a UGC in place. As you can see, we managed to get the co-founder of Sasius to join the event. And from there, what we did is run thought leadership ads towards high value accounts that we wanted to bring to the event. And of course, since we are all marketers, you should be able to monitor the engagement of each one of your campaigns on the LinkedIn Ads Manager and keep on running those retargeting ads. Once I happen to discover that my high value account interacted with one or more frames just like this or UGC posts, then I send them another message saying, "Hey, I saw that you like the frame of, let's say, Stefan or Thomas, and George is coming too. Why don't you come?" Right? So in that case, you activate the FOMO and you use the familiarity trigger in order to loop them in your marketing efforts. And bottom line, what happened was that we managed to fill out the room with 200 vetted executives. Stefan, you were there, no?
And I don't think so. I don't think I
In
made this one.
September.
No, I don't think I made this one. No.
Okay,
Uh,
good. Yeah, no, just wondering because top of mind you were there. But okay, cool. And as part of the initial outreach nowadays, right, we promise you to give you my personal formula for booking 60 plus demos over the past months. And it's quite simple and it doesn't need a lot of personalization. Once again, it needs you to realize the signal, capture it in a tiny manner, and turn it into a proper outbound sequence for yourself. So I have discovered two formulas that works relatively the same. Is the same amount of pipeline generated, like 60 demos, and it follows the following structure. So number one, we always start with a question around the signal mentioned in an indirect manner. So if there is a webinar that someone attends, for instance, and they're trying to, I don't know, learn more about signal-based plays in 2026, that is your whole hook, right? Because of the fact that it's relevant, etc., etc. In that case, what you see within the message number one, this trigger was the post that occurred around HubSpot sharing, hey, signal-based prospecting is a thing, right? So I just used that moment, layer social proof directly in it, and then underneath, I formed a negative question towards the ICP. You may ask, Georgie, why initially negative? Well, we as humans love to protect ourselves and we love to say no, even though we need that solution. Just because you don't want someone to take your money, right? And there is so much
Yeah.
BS out there that you want to protect yourself. So in this case, if you read it in a negative manner, if you say no, it means yes, right? So is it a bad time to help you? No, it's not a bad time. Ah, perfect, cool. We should chat, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
So
if you want people to correct you, right? So that's actually a CIA way to subtract information. You say something wrong at the very core, so they can correct you, and then that's how you actually find out information that otherwise people wouldn't, reveal.
totally, and it feels not chat GPT driven, right? Because your outreach nowadays should feel exactly like this. It should contain PSs because that makes it more personal. It should also have maybe some spelling mistakes. It is proven by some of the experts that I talked to that this thing also works, etc., etc. So make sure to experiment as much as possible with this, right? And it's pretty similar what we do for method number two, but the only difference is that we loop in a personal touch coming straight up from the profile of the initial person. So if you can read the secondary message, you can see that I mentioned, I want you to reach Series B faster. And this type of information was listed in the profile of that person that I reach out directly. And as you can see, because it feels natural, because it feels human driven, the response is, hey, sure, let me see it. Nice variable, Series B, I might copy that, right? So then you manage to really stand out from the rest of the noise. There is one thing that I want you guys to know, and this comes from all of the interviews that we did within the podcast show that I run called My First Signal, where we speak about with other strategic revenue drivers. And this is to keep the context around the signal for yourself. Imagine that you're going on a date and you know that the girl or the boy, doesn't matter, that you want to go out with, love flowers, right? Particularly blue roses, whatever, doesn't really matter. It can go as weird as you want it to be. And rather than talking on the date about those blue flowers, right? Why don't you just bring them in order to bring even more impact within the memorability of that person? And that is how you manage to stand out. So it's absolutely the same with your outreach. Rather than naming directly, congratulations, you rate Series C, no, name the consequences of that, right? Like name something that is not obvious to them yet, or it's obvious but they need a little bit more help, rather than being just super straightforward with, hey, congratulations on your funding or things like this. And this is the reason, by the way, I mentioned to everyone who uses signal base, evergreen signals are just the starting point, not the means to your end. So make sure to layer custom qualification criteria on top. And I'm going to showcase an example of that in a bit. Before we continue, I know this probably is going to be a recording, but if you drop me a DM right now, what I'll do is that I'll send you after the webinar all of the playbooks that we have in place, covering exactly that, but everything that I just mentioned, but in way more depth. So I explained together with Frank from Salesforce and a few other experts how to build a signal-based go-to-market engine from scratch. And you can learn also a little bit more about how to layer your signal-based go-to-market playbook with the whole pyramid scheme.
By the way, if Agent Frank or Frank from Salesforce has been able to book constantly. I think he was talking about 50 meetings a week. Each
Yeah.
week we're talking 50 meetings a week and this was consistent in, I would say, for 2 or 3 months. When I met him in October, and he already had the process running. So I would say some time already. So this system is very lucrative, guys. Reach out to Georgi, and he's gonna give you all the sauce, as they call it. Okay,
Yes,
go
sir.
on.
All right, we have 30 minutes, right? And we promised you guys to create something actionable. So just for the matter of fact that we are limited on time, I'll showcase right now how you can build your first signal-based list in order to, number one, as I mentioned, optimize the efficiency of your SDRs team, and also save nerves and generally the shame around targeting wrong accounts. So without any further ado, what I will just do is go to Signalbase and start with the first workflow. Okay, so workflow number one. Imagine that we are a biotech company that wants to sell to other biotech companies that have an in-house laboratory, right? Laboratories normally are very messy. It has a lot of paperwork, but let's say that we have a magic wand to solve like all of their efficiencies. So the beauty of Signalbase is that we will only showcase accounts inside of the platform once they have created a fundraising, acquisition, or job changes signal at scale. Soon hiring, but let's keep it as it is. So in order to build your list, previously what you needed to do is just look for all of the biotech companies inside the LinkedIn sales nav, export them, and only then start researching for whether they have a laboratory in place, right? Right now, all we can do is click on the categories and then look for hospitals, healthcare as a main thing. And as you can see, we have 3.3K signals. And then from here, let's say we want to go after the US and go with team size between those categories. And just like that, our list shrank significantly down to 1.1 signals in place. Of course, like you can narrow it down for even further by the seed or Series A round that they have raised. And now we have 300. Oh, Stefan left. Okay, and now we have. Oh no. And now we have almost 300 signals in place. From here, what you simply can do is save as CSV, which I already did, and I'll showcase in a bit the rest of the workflow. You can push it to HubSpot, or with a webhook, you can put it to a particular clay table, and I'll showcase another use case around using the API in call code in a timely manner. But okay, let's say that we download the CSV and we put it in Clay, right? As you can see, we have all of the company information with the funding, etc., etc. I will run the Clay tables on all of the use cases for 10 roles only because I don't have any Clay credits, and it's more important for you to understand the main framework behind it, right? So the first step that I did after knowing, okay, those are companies that recently raised money, is to identify whether they have a lab in-house. Most of the biotech companies, and I know that because I also work for one biotech company, they have laboratories inside in order to boost their development, right? So this is where your expertise for the market comes in big time. Once you've done that, you just need to create a Clayagent that scrapes for that initial information, right? And you might think, oh my God, this is so complex, etc., etc. Super easy prompt that you can just drop in here and let Clay do the rest is, I want to identify whom from these companies have a list of physical laboratories behind them, etc., etc. Another hack in here is that to build the prompt for the Clayagent in ChatGPT, just press on voice record and say to ChatGPT, hey, I want to build a clay gen that does this, and this, right? And it does it in here. Either way, this is the prompt for absolutely everyone again, if they want to check it. And then based on that one, what I said to the clay gen is give me yes, no response, whether they have a in-house lab. I got the results that have an in-house lab, right? And then from there, what we did is start looking for the address of the initial laboratory, and this is where it's being displayed. And from here, okay, we know that they have a laboratory. We know that they also have like physical location. Who is the person that I want to reach out to in order to invite them to a dinner? Because of the fact that everyone knows in such markets, it's very hard to capture additional signals, right? And get extra context in case you talk to those guys. So what I did is another clay gen where I asked for, hey, can you find me the lead of the initial laboratory, because I really want to talk to them, right? And I want to put them in a dinner. As you can see, like here the responses. And then based on that, one beautiful thing about Clay is that you can create an invite directly in there. As you can see, this is like the email in here. So it's very vague. Of course, you can prompt engineer your own Clay agent to be very human-like, but you do need to set a particular form in place. And then if I were you, if I'm a head of growth or head of marketing for such company, I will really try my best to source as much context as possible while being in that particular event, and then looping the insights that we get to the CEO or everyone else who is within my buyer party. Okay, so this is use case number one, I would say. Are there any questions for this?
There are, I don't think there are questions. Let me check. But I do have a question, and my question is this: so like, so the flow is this: you take a signal, then you ask Clay to sort of create a custom Clay agent who's gonna sort of filter through these signals and then give you the like a more specialized list. And then what would be a logical next step after that? Like, you have the data. What do you do after that?
So as mentioned, you want to pull all of these scientists for that particular use case, right? You want to pull all of the scientists outside of their digital environment. And the reason for that one is because showcasing in person yourself is 10 times more valuable than just keep on cold calling and things like this. Everyone does that. Within your ABM, you do need to think about ways how to stand out for those particular accounts, while of course remaining on a budget if that's a goal. If you have, I don't know, like let's say 300 million in funding, sure, you can host a private gala and things like this and invite absolutely everyone. But that the way how I would try to identify signals for this is monitoring later for posts from the CEO, maybe some research papers, events, and particularly talking to the people from the lab, because those are the guys that normally don't create signals, right? So they are more hidden. And the only way to discover it is by monitoring further for intent. So perhaps you make something to make them aware of, hey, we really need to optimize the efficiency of our laboratory. Although probably they know that too, right? Like, people are not that blind when it comes to biotech and research and things like this, because they are always looking for better ways to optimize it. So that's how I'll treat it, at least.
Okay, cool. All right.
Nice. We have time for the rest of the use cases, right? Like, I'll try to be fast.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, cool. Next use case, it's pretty similar to what we have in place previously, but this time I decided to use the acquisition signal that is inside Signal-based. And the reason why we want to do that is because right after acquisition, if you go for particular companies, there are a lot of things that move, right? Like restructuring, and maybe the whole go-to-market landscape is going to change for that company, especially if they have multiple markets. I have seen teams reevaluating the efficiency of their market, and they can even shut down a particular one, right? So this can be a golden opportunity for a lot of go-to-market teams. And I'll do exactly the same thing. So I'll layer the filters in here. So let's just go this time for tech companies and then still US, just because.
Mhm.
Cool. And now we have a list of 1K companies. You can narrow it down again further down the line. So let's do this. Okay, let's just keep it as it is because there is no data for that acquisition amount. And what we'll do is, again, like save it as CSV, push it to Clay. And then from here, if I am a vendor like Ahrefs, right? What I would love to know is the amount of offices that this particular company has in place. Because what does that mean is that if they have multiple companies around the world, they probably need a different internalization strategy for each one of them. And for
Yeah.
that, you need a tool, right? So therefore, you match 2 and 2. And this is the custom signal that I set for myself that I want to experiment with. Once I know how many offices they have, so I build a ClayGen again, you can try to identify the SEO person from there, right? And once you identify that person, as you can see, I have them here, we do another basic outreach, right? Like you try to just knock on the door, see if this is relevant. And if they say no, perfect. Then you just keep on monitoring for signals, right? Or if they say, oh, we use competitor, then you need to just make your own sense in order to help them. But most of the time, whenever there is a funding or acquisition in place, it can take between a month to 2 for the team to really shake off the shock of the change and start picking up, right? So
Yeah.
this is how I'll treat this. And then because you're selling to marketing people, it's easier to gain insights. Once there is a webinar, for instance, for internalization, you need to knock on the door, right? For those accounts or any events or things like this. Okay. And last use case, because we're running out of time and I want to cover a few other things, is what will happen if you start creating your signal-based list or prospecting from the job changes, right? So this is being sourced in less than a minute ago, and we have almost 700,000 signals in here. But let's say the third use case that we will have is privacy-friendly analytics. And our goal is to check whether these folks are using Google Analytics so we can discover the data gaps that Google Analytics is making, right? Because if someone press no on the consent form, then you have gap in your analytics. Cool. How we need to do that? Well, look for privacy people, right? Because they always care for those stuff.
Compliance, yeah, compliance usually.
Yeah, compliance too. Okay, now we have 3K accounts. If we try to narrow it down a bit, let's see, what will the database showcase? Okay, 400 signals. That's okay. Again, export it as CSV, push it to your CRM, webhook, or API. In this case, I'll download it again as CSV so you can see how many accounts you can download. And go to Clay, map out all of the columns. And from here, what I want to know is, number one, the website URL. And this is the reason, the reason why I'm asking for website URL is because we're fixing still a few things on the product side to create complete company profiles. But once you have this in place, then you would like to know the tech stack and how you do that. You add an enrichment, and then you look for this. Once you press it, you get full-on access into what's happening. And again, you keep on pushing more and more qualification criteria towards this account. The reason why I have error here, by the way, is because I don't have any credits. So I just wanted to pinpoint that out. And of course, we have our message in here that is talking about the danger of having data gaps and impacting your decision making.
Mhm.
So this is in essence how I would treat building the initial list. And if you want to save your pockets from Clay, what you can do nowadays is, God bless Cloud Code, because if you loop in our API straight up in it, you have access to absolutely everything, and then the enrichment becomes stupidly cheap. One use case that we got is from Tanay, who is a Clay bootcamp mentor, and the screenshot is exactly from his side. As you can see, he just asks, hey, use Signal-based to find all recent funding, news, etc., etc. And then it pulls all of the data. So therefore, if you have someone who can navigate this, it's quite easy for you to.
Georgi, let's say we have a hypothetical case. So let's say we have a GitHub, and then I have in my GitHub, in my repo, I have all these. Let's say I have my accounts, right? If you apply to ABM, I have my accounts. I have history about those accounts. How did I talk with them, and so on and so forth. And then let's say I want to have a dashboard, or maybe let's say I want to have a dashboard inside, and then I can pull into the dashboard the data coming from Signal base, and pull the data and say, hey, bring me, like, based on the signals you see, can you please prioritize the accounts? Can we do that in Cloud Code?
Probably you can, but you need to go the other way around. You do need to, because Signal-based is primarily used for top-of-mind sourcing, right? Not still monitoring external CSVs. You can do that. You definitely can do that, but first you need to like start with the exact same use case that I showcased, right? Like you start with the privacy change. If people interact, then you go into the scoring, which I want to cover in a second, because I feel like this is also super important. I've been mentioning the key to success to your list is custom signals, right? And
Yeah.
I can mention something that works for us right now, outside of obviously going to market for in-house teams. We also sell part of our data to different sales tech solutions, right? Because everyone needs a little bit of data boost. And a custom signal that I have set up for myself is access to product roadmap. And once they have a new feature that covers, hey, we're going to introduce signals, this is my moment to reach out.
I don't understand what the hell's happening with.
I don't know too. Okay, but yeah, to keep it short and not get kicked out again, try to set up a custom qualification criteria for yourself based on the ICP, right? Like think about what is that one moment where your product becomes irrelevant to someone, right? Because only then it makes sense to knock on the door, right? If not, you're just guessing blindly, and that's the reason why we see AI AZR agents blasting thousands of emails just to have 29 responses, right? Things like this, right? Because it lacks relevance. And your goal as a marketing leader or a growth executive nowadays is to find that relevance and execute upon that, because only then it's repeatable, right? And you need to think about the repeatable use cases that form your custom signal in place. To escape your nightmares, and Stefan, here you can probably share something, but for me, you just need to use the KISS methodology, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Key custom signal, if it's being reached by your account, give them 3 points. If there is a social media engagement that is on competitors or your own, give it 1 point. If you're going through relevant events or webinar, 1 point. If there is a key visit to your website pages like API docs, pricing, or support, or they want to know use cases, give them 2 points, right? Because that indicates higher level of intent. Lastly, if they book a demo or are chatting with your support in order to discover, well, they're quite warm, I would say, or at least depending on which part of the stake they are. But trust me, like nobody will book a demo or chat support if they're super cold. The reason why I'm saying this, like keep it simple, stupid, is because whenever I work for this growth agency, we happen to see lifecycle stages within the CRM, such as the customer smiled. Like it's ridiculous to see how much teams overcomplicate this. So please, to save your SDRs and also yourself from continuously updating, right? Although automated, the best thing is to really define the core value or the core elements that move your customers and have a most influential impact on them, and then just execute on those ones, right? Like the fact that I don't know, someone smiled or things like this doesn't mean anything. So don't overwhelm your CRM.
Let me add my 5 cents here. So these things are important, obviously, your scoring, but don't take this as a, it's not your Bible, right? And the Bible, look, this is not your Bible. And first of all, think about, still a demo. Like if a company requests for a demo is still more important than, if how many points they have they gathered, because you cannot compare apples to oranges. Like an account might have 20 points and then they do nothing for years, and then another account has 10 points and then they request it for a demo and then you closed the deal. So it's good to have a reference point on like how this engagement is working. Basically, like, let's say, it gives you a better idea of your account velocity and how fast can you close a deal, and what can you do to sort of accelerate account closure or deal closure. That's where all these points can help. But thinking of it as an alma mater of all intent and lead scoring, this is completely wrong. Okay, don't misuse it.
Good. No, perfect. And funny enough, I've been chatting with another friend of mine who is the head of marketing, and what he mentioned to me is that he stopped caring about attribution. The only attribution that you want to care for is actually impact of your brand, right? Then the fact that it's closing deals and people are talking about it. Let me give you an example in here. I went to this Clay Club event in Amsterdam, and although it was in the office of, you can say, competitors, what happened was that everyone recognized me and asked me, wait, are you the Signals guy? Are you Georgie, like from Signal Base and things like this, right? This is way better measure unit, I would say, for your brand rather than anything else. And even if your competitors are saying, dude, your content kicks really like the nail on the head, then you know that you're on the right point of time. And I'm saying this as I received this comment today too. All right, something actionable, because there was a comment in the webinar that we don't give enough actionable points. I want to introduce 7 very well working, cheap ABM practices that you can start working on today. Number 1, this is so-called live prospecting. And what ultimately it is that you decide on your ABM account that you want to go after. And based on your product, of course, it depends if your product allows this. But in this case, this is a video that my co-founder recorded for his own company that sells privacy-friendly analytics. He analyzed the entire tracking and collecting of events on a particular website that he want to work with, right? And then posted on LinkedIn. The beauty of this is, number 1, it's cheap, right? It just costs your time. Number 2, it gives you direct answer from that initial account. Plus, you have a dedicated content piece. Plus, you give a little bit more actionable insights to the rest of the accounts that are in your pipeline, what this can do for them, right? So it's great tactic just to get started.
Mm-hmm.
Secondary, you can give champagne to your prospects, right? But what if you give them something personalized based on the signal that they created? So this is a letter that I received from one company that tried to close me, and it was super nice. Although the targeting was a little bit off because, again, we didn't have much budget, but that doesn't matter. Let's just give some flowers here. What was stated in the card was who are they, why are they reaching, how they can particularly help within that initial signal that I created, which was awesome. Honestly, the only thing that stopped me at this point of time was the fact that we're not enterprise, right? So that's something just to keep in mind. So it can be just a little note. You can send coupon cards or things like this. And this is the type of personalization that you need. You don't need to talk about someone's dog dying, right? Like that's not, if they post it on LinkedIn, don't bring it into the signal. And talking about personalization, I think this is by far one of my favorite tactics because although this was already a customer of ours, so shout out to Mark, I wanted to record an alternative of Hot Ones where we ate very spicy chicken wings. So please make sure to check this video. It's absolutely ridiculous to see me losing my language by any means, because at some point I needed a towel or maybe 2 in order to continue, and a whole vocabulary. So definitely check it out. It's great to pull your prospects in the same room, and trust me, when you pull out such creative plays, you manage to stand out from everyone else, right? Like this is exactly what you need. To follow up on this one, another great practice is to mix your prospects with your current customers. And this is why I was running so many events previously within the community based product that I led growth in. And the beauty of that one is that they can obviously talk one another about their problems, but also they can talk how you can help them and bring the real life use cases directly in their face. So when they bring it up, then it's 10 times more enjoyable, right?
Yeah.
Lastly, if there, it's a very similar tactic, but if you geographically, like, it doesn't make sense to run an event for someone that is just in, let's say, Germany, but to your main target audience and your main accounts are in the US, right? Like, it doesn't make sense. But then what you can do is create a community around it, and it can be WhatsApp group. There is 90% higher close rate, and I would highly advise your SDRs to do this if you have the WhatsApp of someone, right? Because it's 10 times easier. They cannot ignore you so easily as an email or as a LinkedIn message, etc., etc. So it's highly personalized, direct access, right? And then again, if you can loop in your users together with your prospects, this is where the real magic happens.
I'll give you an example. So I've been on Kevin Indik has a community. It used to be on WhatsApp, and then I used to engage. But then once it sort of like went into Slack, I stopped engaging because I have so many Slack channels, and I think community is the ultimate mode when it comes to a lot of like the products or services you sell, and it's way more personal. You're way more personal with your audience when you're on WhatsApp than when you're Slack. On Slack is just another community. If you're on
For
WhatsApp,
sure.
it feels like family, right? So people don't ignore it that often. They will, but not now.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I think I'm wrapping it up with this one, but cheap MBM practices. I think in the beginning of the show we mentioned that you need crazy ad spend. Well, this is actually not true. All you need is user generated content that you can boost for 10 euros like a week, 10 euros a day, so 100 euro sprint a week, and you just keep on refreshing all of these things because I do firmly believe that if your account see different ads from different people in the shorter period of time, rather than the same ad from the same people in longer period of time, you win big time. Simply because of the fact that volume wins, especially when it comes to this person uses it and this person uses it, right? Like, this is why Clay became so big because so many people talk about it in a short period of time. So use thought leadership ads. This was something that was discovered from me and my team previously that works 3 times, if not like 80% better than anything else. So yeah. And one last thing, and this is an example from our side when it comes to closing a little bit bigger deals. Just give them lowball offer, right? It's always great to start small, just to run something like POC for them to test it. If they test it, scale, right? This is where the whole bolt type funnel also talks about land and expansion, right? So once you have one account on a small basis, if they see value, you can easily extend them. It works for service providers, it works for SaaS companies, it works for B2C companies. Just start small, hook them in, and then elevate from there. So yeah, I think that's everything for today, guys. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope that we managed to break some maybe a myths today.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope so as well. We've had a few people questioning about they asked us to send the recording, so that's gonna be you guys will see the recordings. We'll send you after the webinar ends. If there are any questions, please reach out to Georgi. Signal Base, you'll see it's the. Are you the CEO, Georgi, of Signal Base?
Yep, correct. Co-founder and CEO.
Go on LinkedIn, find Signal Base, and find the CEO of Signal Base, and then connect with Georgi. He'll give you all the information. You may find if you need me, just write Stefan, and there is just one Stefan on the whole LinkedIn. It's going to give you a Stefan Repin, and then you'll find me as well. We can talk and actionize your ABM. I don't have any further questions. Anyway, it's a Wednesday, 6 o'clock, so people probably want to drink their beer. So let's drink to that. Um,
Absolutely. No, thanks for having me. Hope that people will happen to learn a thing or two. And guys, try something.
Thank you, Gege. It was a pleasure.
Bye, everyone.
But give me a second. I will.
Yeah.